Is this you guys? Okay.
Yep.
All right. I'll let you drive.
Great.
Sure.
Welcome here. Can you guys hear me? It feels kind of odd. It's like otherwise, you ever hear your own voice and you're going, "That's not me." Well, how could anyone hear me? But anyways, my name is Jim Doten. I'm the Carbon Sequestration Program Manager for the city of Minneapolis. You probably got tired of hearing me this morning, droning on and on. And I'm joined here today by Cole Thompson.
Morning, everybody. I'm the City of Minneapolis Carbon Program Analyst here to help Jim out to talk about our project here within the Health Department.
And I get to do fun stuff, and he gets to do the stuff that I can't do, which is anything practical. So go ahead and advance it here. But I want to welcome you here to the US BI 2025 conference. We're very pleased and proud to be part of the host city here, and as well as part of Minnesota Biochar Initiative. But the title, if you were here this morning and heard the mayor's presentation, you heard him talk about stopping being taking the defense and going on the offense against climate change, et cetera. And that's where I got that phrase from. And it's part of the Climate Legacy Initiative that we work with. And thank you very much, Xcel Energy and Centerpoint for providing the funds, a lot of the funds that underlie this. So, but going on the offense, this is our journey. This started, next slide, please. This actually started way back in 2012. That's a young, jaded me. Back in Afghanistan, I was a hydrologist on an agribusiness development team, trying to figure out how to make crops grow in southern Afghanistan along the Pakistani border. And it turns out that all the water in the world wasn't going to help because the soil was shot. And what do we do to help restore a functioning soil? And that's why I looked at using agricultural waste and a thing called biochar to try to set up village-level programs to start restoring the soil and improving, reducing food insecurity in Afghanistan. In 2013, was able to come back to the Minneapolis. I was working in environmental services as a regulator, and came up, and Patrick Hanlon, who you saw there earlier, came up with this idea as I'm looking at problems. You know, I know something that'll fix that, and that, and that, and that. And I said, what? And it's this magic pixie dust called biochar. And what is it? We eventually was able to talk him into funding a bunch of buying some biochar that we put in and stored with the Shakopee, Metawakan, Sioux community, Dakota tribe down in Shakopee, just south of here. They have a very large composting facility. So we're mixing compost and biochar to deliver it to communities in what we call our green zones or environmental justice zones to help deal with health disparities, and particularly working initially with the urban Indian community. So, but that kicked off there, that we had an MOU with the tribe, SMSC. But from there, I like to call them the Tupperware party phase, where I come on out and show you the wonders of Tupperware, in this case, the wonders of biochar, in various demonstrations. We focused a lot on community agriculture to start, but then from there started a little bit of scope creep and getting into urban forestry, stormwater, site restoration, a number of different factors. And it just grew, continued to grow from there. The one problem is that looking at scaling this, as far as anyone has told us, that was the first organized biochar program in 2013 in municipal, other than one-offs. But we couldn't scale because we continue to buy it and drag it across the country. How does that work out long-term? We can show it's great, wonderful, but we need local production in order to make it work, make it effective. Well, Bloomberg Philanthropies heard that we were doing biochar, and they were surprised anybody in North American city was working on biochar. They hadn't heard of it before. And so in 2019, we got invited to go to Stockholm to go see the Stockholm Experience, and PIRG, that's their unit that they use out there. But went out there, and I was able to bring the director of public works and a city council member who became a huge biochar champion. And they were just amazed because they heard me, the crazy guy in the goat skin, yelling about the miracle of biochar, and everyone just started avoiding me. Yeah, that was fun period. But all of a sudden they come back, and while we're in Stockholm, they're like, Jim, we thought you were kidding. The stuff works. How do we get into this? And so we were one of 14 cities worldwide that were invited, the only one from North America. Worked out great. Then three things happened. Number one, COVID. You might have heard that one. Stopped pretty much everything. Number two is the public works director got a better job, Oops. And the council member got voted out of office. So kind of the trifecta, things not looking good. But then we kept the embers alive, continued the process, doing our demonstrations just on a slower process to preserve our pile, but continue to drive and get that up. What we managed to do is build a new political coalition, build those champions, get outside stakeholders, show the demand, and in 2022, Bloomberg reopened the process, and 7 cities around the world were awarded grants to help build municipal biochar programs or advance them, 4 in Europe and 3 in the United States. And myself in Minneapolis, we had Nash Leaf here in Lincoln, and Sam Dunlop, wherever he went to, there he is, that guy, in Cincinnati. So we're in various processes. Lincoln and Cincinnati were municipally owned, privately operated, and Minneapolis was municipally owned, municipally operated, and so that appears to be the first model we're in the process of building right now. So you'll see some of it, you'll see it on Thursday when you go on the thing, and Cole will be taking his wide hand and showing you what's coming up. But that's kind of where we're at. And so what we got the grant. 2022, we formed the carbon sequestration program in Minneapolis with the intent of 3 goals. Number 1 is local production, which was stopping us before. Number 2 is keeping an equity focus on this one and helping our citizens in most need, and we define that as what our green zones, our environmental justice zones, and Kelly Molman over here was in charge of those for a while. Now she's changed over to our side and works with us in environmental programs, the director of environmental programs. But the third thing is that not every city needs a biochar machine, pyrolyzer, but everybody needs access. And so the third thing is to be a metropolitan asset for other municipalities, our government agencies throughout the 7-county metropolitan area to be that better thing. And our main purpose is to serve government functions to achieve our climate goals. Next slide, please. And that's kind of the genesis here. We're talking about this, how things were doing. Should have had them advance. And one of the key things that opened up the opportunity, we have a wood waste problem. Our feedstock is wood. But around here, we have a large thing called the St. Paul District Energy System, which sucked up all available feedstock in the area. Not only that, but across the state, everything's get funneled in to get burned for steam and electricity, which is replacement for natural gas, et cetera. But it drove up the availability of feedstock. You couldn't get it. And then we never not take advantage of a crisis. We had emerald ash borer come through. Everyone's familiar with that, and we happen to have one of the highest ash populations in the country here in Minnesota. So all of a sudden, we went from them taking everything in the state to they couldn't even service the metropolitan area. We have 550,000 tons, or 545 if the MPCA is here, tons of wood waste in the metropolitan area from just ongoing operations and emerald ash borer. We have a built capacity for 350,000 tons. So that created an opportunity for how can we demonstrate a better way of taking care of wood waste. And one of the key partners in here, Suzanne, thank you very much, Suzanne Murphy from Xcel Energy. We formed an MOU with Xcel for wood waste, line maintenance wood waste from Xcel Energy's operations to provide for us. We have another similar agreement with Hennepin County, some with the Park Board, and then also with Metropolitan Transit in the area. So related back to feeding our machine on an ongoing basis. With the common question I get, well, emerald ash borer doesn't go last forever. We're expected to kind of come over the hump in the next 5 to 7 years. But getting MOUs with like Xcel and others, that's going to continue on. So we have building those new practices, that was key towards having a sustained future. So then we won the challenge in 2022. Next one is offshoot of continuation of the Stockholm experience. And these are kind of, we started out here, and I apologize, don't have a lot of pictures in this because I can talk enough over a picture. More. Picture paints 1,000 words, well, I got 1,000 words instead of one picture. So anyways, one of the key things in here, one question we get is that we are in the health department, which is unusual. Normally this would be in a public works or some other agency like that. We started out, it's kind of one of those flukes of nature. I'm in the health department. I'm a geologist, been doing this about 40 years. So I ran into this thing, and how can I approach this? but from an environmental perspective. And one big things we had is that we have a lot of health disparities within our crew. You know, everybody has equal opportunities, but we have problems. In our environmental justice zones in the north and south side, it's really apparent, and it's a lack of availability, lack of clean food, lack of a lot of different things, and so it shows up. And so the first thing we're doing is addressing urban agriculture, and like we worked first with the Native American community using pre-European contact seed lines, traditional growing methods in order to restore a traditional diet and address the health issues that come from a Western diet. Moved on to other affinity groups as well, cultural groups. But I should say that we did that, we didn't do that, they did that. Our motto is we're on tap, not on top. You tell us what you need and I'll tell you how I can support you and get that for you. So we're trying to help them rather than coming down as government. I got a solution for you. Thank you very much. It's worked in the past. So that's kind of the start, but we moved on, and our public works is very enthusiastic there. They want to put this in all their stormwater devices, et cetera. So, but moving along that, one of the other things that we're moving into, transportation corridors. I don't know if Dwayne Stenland, are you in here today? No, but MnDOT, Minnesota Department of Transportation, is very active in getting, Matt, you've been working with a lot up there and on stuff with Natural Resource Research Institute in Duluth, part of the University of Minnesota Duluth. We're working on a lot on biochar. Dr. Brian Berry and others been working with Minnesota Department of Transportation, getting this approved, tested out, getting it on the approved materials list, and developing specifications that can be put into contracts, which will open up a lot of things. And also I want to recognize through not only that the NRI, we've had a strong relationship with the University of Minnesota. I have Nargis and Malini over here. Nargis has been working with Sebastian Behrens, who is a wonderful German-born soil scientist looking at compost and biochar interactions. And Nargis has been working on a 2-year fellowship on the biochar. She's been amazing. Yes.
It's available for hire.
And yep, her fellowship's up. Anybody looking to hire? Shameless plug. Yeah, I do highly recommend her. And Malini is working right now with us as a supplier and looking at biochar into building materials. So she's in the architecture and design. So a great opportunity, and we're proud to be a partner with them on that. And NRI is also supporting that effort. Matt, is that you? Matt's working on that one. So a lot of things, but we're getting a strong support from Minneapolis and Minnesota Biochar all together, and we have other manufacturers coming up. But stormwater, just go back there, stormwater is one of the upcoming things. We're looking now, our public works folks were just meeting the other day, and it's like, oh my gosh, I gotta get out. They used to get out of my way, now I gotta get out of their way. They'll stop me and it's like, oh my gosh, Jim, this is wonderful. They're planning on putting this into over 100 devices a year, biochar, and primarily to address nutrient contaminants and E. coli. But we're also, this one here, this is a transportation corridor we worked on with Hennepin County and MnDOT, where we're replacing the median and putting in biochar, compost soil mix, and a pollinator yard or whatever, to make corridors for native pollinators along transportation corridors. But the intent working with MnDOT is to get this into all transportation corridors, a lot to do with first flush contamination removal and other things, protect our waterways. That's a lot what Matt and Brian are working on as well at NRI. So we're really looking forward to getting close to the point of getting MnDOT to do that, and we see that as a huge market maker in the government sphere. The other things we're working on, urban forestry with bare root stock replacement, reducing the tree mortality and thrivability. And I don't know, Brian Borkowitz is here from Davie. He'll be around, he's around here. But looking at that, Davie has had a really great success, Davie Tree, with biochar and compost in there to reduce tree mortality in bare root stock plantings. The last one there is a carbon garden. It's something we've been doing, we've been having a lot of interest in various gardens, et cetera, that the neighborhoods are picking up as a way to build carbon into that whole story of carbon removal, et cetera, into those things, and particularly in our green zones and along transportation corridors. Next one here, so that's Hiawatha, just leading from the airport to downtown. Next one here. All right. Cole will get a chance to talk. He's more than a button pusher. So, he was actually one of my interns in 2015. and worked on some of our earliest biochar work with the Little Earth housing development, which was the only Native American preference housing community in Minneapolis, or in the country. So he was knee deep in the three beans, or the three sisters method. But some of the things we're talking about here, we've got a technology now. We're doing rotary kiln. We're building it right now, and appreciate the feedstock, and we're working on our offtakes for where the carbon is going to go as well. But some of the things, if you're thinking about a project, just lessons learned. We got a short time, and I want to get through these things, so I apologize if I talk fast. But there's some of the things the biggest thing we're looking at is what is it you're trying to solve? You can make biochar for the sake of making biochar because it's great and it does this. But what is it you're trying to solve? And one of the things we're looking at, key aspect, was soil health issues. And so that will drive what type of biochar you want with the feedstocks process, et cetera. That started out secondary, getting into the stormwater process, and then other things as they come along. What do you want your biochar to do? Ours is to work in the soil, infiltrate stormwater, reduce runoff, remove contaminants, make plants grow, and restore soil health, including the microbial communities and how that builds and rebuilds soil tilth, et cetera. The community engagement for us as a city was huge in getting this out, particularly since it's early. It's odd. Everyone will look at you funny. Well, they did 5-10 years ago. The mayor even's like, we're doing what? Now he's on board. But community engagement was huge in getting that down there, particularly getting neighborhood associations, different cultural groups, growing groups, et cetera, to buy in and becoming your champion and making that demand from the grassroots angle. It's here, we like it, and start putting that demand on the politicians to get this and support it as an issue. The other thing is that political support, it's huge. We had the council member who got unelected. This is Suzanne, used to be a council aide, she knows about these things. But we changed over to a strong mayor system now. So we still have support in council, but the mayor has become increasingly important with our charter changes. And he has gone from, he knows about it, to being a super champion of this thing. And if it wasn't for his support, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Katie. Oh, you're just waving. Oh, got it. All right, shut the hell up. Got it. Thanks, Katie. All right. Well, these are the other things. And the last one was funding. Where does this money come from? For us, Bloomberg was it. We didn't have any other grant money. Otherwise, we have a thing called the Climate Legacy Initiative that the mayor puts in, and that comes from fees from franchise fees from Xcel Energy and Centerpoint that go into decarbonization and climate adaptation projects. This is one of them. So the Climate Legacy Initiative that we didn't mention. Go out, next one here. All right, these are some of we already gone over a lot of this. We'll skip to the next slide because I want to have him finish us up here. This is getting into here, and Cole, you want to pick some of this, but these are the key components we went through, and one thing that you learn is that once you open it up, it's a lot more complex. It sounds easy on the outside till you crack the egg open, and all of a sudden you got an egg all over the frying pan, and you're trying to put it back in the shell. So, Cole?
Yeah. All right, well, I could definitely talk as long as Jim did on the overview in more detail about the development process that we went through. So, I mean, as you can see here, it's not just, hey, let's think up biochar and let's go ahead and do this great, opportunity and move through it, and it'll be just, rainbows and sunshine. There's a lot of internal groups, a lot of coordination efforts that go into this. With Minneapolis being such a large city, it's hard to even find a site for us to operate this facility. So, Jim had a heck of a time finding, a site that was going to work for, trucks coming in, coming out, being able to utilize a skid steer to load and unload materials as they come in. And so the big lesson I think that we've embraced is the humility of knowing that we don't know anything when it comes to building a site. We looked a lot at our public works partners. So when you look at public works, it's more than just the director. There's not just one guy that does utilities. There's a whole department that does water utilities. There's a whole department that does traffic engineering. And so we looked at all of these different internal teams and tried to throw what we could at the wall and saw what could stick. And ultimately we ended up with this site here. It's is it 60 by 60?
No, 50 by 80.
50 by 80 site where the pyrolysis unit will be located at 67D 25th Avenue Southeast. So we're right in the shadow of the U of M's Huntington Bank Stadium, which is pretty crazy to think that there was a parcel that was undeveloped so close to the U. You know, and as Jim said, it's like we found this nice site, but this is a technology that residents haven't seen before. Council members need to understand it. So we needed to win over a lot of support over the course of trying to get engineered drawings, trying to get the civil sites all figured out so that we could send a proposal to city council and not have it be some big, crazy, scary thing that nobody's ever heard of. It was all about trying to make sure that the residents were engaged so that there were no surprises and that we could ensure that we wouldn't have folks, you know, beating down the door wondering what's going on and why is it here. And so you'll see here, the unit that we bought is, that the city purchased is not the largest one you could have. It's not the smallest one you could have. It's, again, this project is all about showing this concept and the opportunity to provide opportunities for cities to replicate this so that we can showcase how we went about going from who knows where this is going to be to being one of the first municipally owned and operated biochar facilities in the country. And so with respect to going on the offense, as the mayor had noted, you know, biochar, through Jim's work and perseverance within, you know, trying to get the word out and, again, keeping the goat skin on, we were able to get this technology into our comprehensive plan, into our climate equity plan. And again, this, as the mayor mentioned, you know, we go on defense with reducing our impacts as much as we possibly can, but this is actually the city's only carbon negative program that we have. So we're really proud of that and can't wait to get it up and running here later this year.
You got 5 minutes for Q&A, Cole?
Yep, there we go. These are our contacts. I want to appreciate it very much. And one of the other lessons on this one is while we're doing it is really learning the need, and we're using a rotary kiln, 600 degrees, wood chips, et cetera, but understanding the work that you need to do to process the feedstock when it goes in to make sure a consistent product come out. And we originally were looking for ways to cut the cost. Hey, I can throw anything in there, I'll get wonderful biochar out. Turns out that doesn't work. So that's just one of the considerations. But we're open for questions and answers to this point.